guys, welcome to this week's video. In this week's video, we are going to be doing my reading recap for June. To start off, there was 2 books on my TBR that I did not get to. The first is A Mask of Mirrors, which this is like the 2nd or 3rd month. And next is Immortal Dark. I did start it, I just didn't finish it. I'm at page 167. So I will be finishing this before I get on to my next books month. As for the books that I did get to, I ended up reading 6 books. The first of which was The Only Good Indians. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. In The Only Good Indians, we follow 4 Native Americans who are being haunted by something that they did in their past. And there is an entity that is following them all, even though it's been years later. It's a new horror book by, well, not new, but it's a horror book by Stephen Graham Jones, who is kind of a newer author for me. I also have Buffalo Hunter Hunter, which I'm super stoked to read. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was, I really enjoyed that there was, part of the book was set in Great Falls, Montana, which is where I'm from. And so the whole book was kind of set in different areas in Montana. So it's kind of cool to see like places that I know what they're about and like, you know, who lives there and have been there. That was really cool to see because that doesn't really happen a lot in books because Montana's kind of a niche state, I guess. It's a really big state, but not a lot of people. So I really enjoyed this. The writing was really good. I thought the story was so like shocking at certain points of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed the pacing. We get to switch POVs between the 4 different boys that we're kind of following in this book, or men, and each one has their own story and their own feelings that they have to come to terms with, not only with the event that occurred in their youth, but also with how they are moving in the world today. But I really enjoyed this. I would recommend this if you like kind of like weird twisty books. I thought it was really good. So I would recommend The Only Good Indians. The next book is A Tempest of Tea. I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. To me, this book felt like it was trying to be Six of Crows, and it almost was, but instead of like a heist for like the city, just for one tea shop, I can almost point bar for like characters from Six of Crows to A Tempest of Tea. And because of that, I just really was like not really into the story, and I feel like we didn't get to know the characters as much as I would have liked. I don't really have anything good or bad to say. Like, it was just there. I thought it was just, you know, a lesser version of Six of Crows, which I hate to say, and I hate to make comparison between books because I don't think it does either book like justification. But I don't know what to say about Tempest of Tea. Like, it was there. I read it. Not bad, not good. I think some people do like it, enjoy the twists and things like that. In A Tempest of Tea, we follow Arthi. She runs a tea shop that during the day is a tea shop, but at night it is a place for vampires to come and, you know, mingle with each other and then also get blood meals from people who are willing to do that. City, the Ram, is out to get kind of Arthi. She kind of runs that part of town, run that part of the city. And so the Ram is out to get her, so she has to make a heist to get into the high society of vampires to get some documents that she's hoping to use as leverage against the Ram. So she gets a ragtag crew of people together to go and do that. Next is the 3rd and final book in the Realmbreaker series. It is Fatebreaker by Victoria Aveyard. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I thought this wrapped up the series really well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the different things that happened. I really loved the characters in this book. I thought they were all so just darling. And I feel like there was enough risk and enough twists that it was still entertaining. This wraps up all of my backlog for Victoria Aveyard, so I don't have anything else by her to read besides her new book, Tempest. I don't think it's out yet, but I'm a big fan of Victoria. I think she is an amazing author. Obviously, I've read all of her books. If you don't know anything about Realmbreaker, we follow Moraine as she has to go on a adventure to help save the realm from her evil uncle, who's kind of crazy. And so we just kind of follow her and her little team that kind of gets assembled to attempt to save the world. So this is the final book in the series. I recommend it. I enjoyed it. It's I believe it just got genre swapped from being a YA to adult fantasy, which it did feel more of adult fantasy while reading as opposed to YA, so I did enjoy that. The next one, this one was insane. The next was The Shadow Wolf is Lost. I rated this 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot recommend this book enough. I've had it on my shelf for so long and just have not gotten into it. Oh my god, this book, there's so many layers, there's so many parts to it. It's just like, it was insane. It was insane to read. In this book, we follow Davian as he kind of gets set out once again on another journey to he doesn't really know what he's doing. He just gets sent on a journey by someone. And so he goes, and the person he's going to is a guy who is waking up in the middle of the woods with no memory. So he is kind of journeying, and their fates kind of end up being twined together. Crazy. It is crazy. It is fast paced. The pacing was so good, and there were so many different twists within, like, throughout the story that I never had any issues with the pacing. And like high fantasy books like this sometimes take longer setting up the world and doing the world building, but this one I had zero issues with the world building and how it was getting set up and the pacing that it took. Like, there's a magic system within this book, Gifted, and there's augurs and their magic system and kind of the rules that they have to follow are the tenets, and so I didn't have any issues with how that all kind of got set up in the beginning. I didn't feel like it dragged on and on and on. And we were able to learn different things about it throughout the story, which I was like really enjoying because that's not something that always happens in these high fantasy books. But I cannot explain how like crazy, fast-paced. So there's just a lot of different layers within this book, and I honestly read it on my Kindle. And I had to go back and forth between parts that I highlighted to be like, oh my god, is this what I think it is? Like, let me go check. So I thought this book was amazing. I cannot wait to get to the next books in the series, and I would highly recommend. Another one that just ate was Lessons in Chemistry. Oh my god, I read this 5 out of 5 stars. I love this book. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm a woman in STEM. I have my bachelor's in microbiology. It's like 1960s, and we follow Elizabeth Zott as she has to raise her daughter, and she is on a cooking show. And on the cooking show, she uses scientific terms. She's a chemist. So through that, it kind of ends up being her own act of rebellion. Not intentionally an act of rebellion, it's just who Elizabeth Zott is. And while doing that, she's not only teaching families how to cook, she's inspiring women everywhere to be more than what they think they could just be. To be more than housewives, to be more than the box that they get put into in this point in time. I adored this book. I thought this was so good. My mom recommended it to me, and once again, another book where I just should have gotten to sooner. But it was so good. It hit my heartstrings. And it was so funny. I was on the airplane and I was reading this, and the flight attendant was like, oh, well, like, what are you reading? I was like, oh, Lessons in Chemistry. And she's like, oh, I love that book. And she's like, what part are you at? And so I was like telling her, and she's like, so good. Such a good representation of like what women had to deal with at this point in time. And it was kind of funny. A reminder, like, I know this because I'm speaking to some people right now, but books tie people together, and it was like a funny little reminder of like, oh, even if we don't think we're connected, we are kind of all connected through popular books or niche books, whatever. But I enjoyed this. I highly recommend this. I think Elizabeth Zott was a great character. I also really liked how Ana Garmis wrote it, because she does like character switches, like POV switches throughout the chapter, and I feel like that added just an extra layer into like the story that we were seeing. Like, we weren't just seeing one side of the conversation in just within one chapter, right? One chapter and like one paragraph would be the POV of Elizabeth, and the next paragraph would be Harriet POV. So we would be able to switch back and forth through these POVs throughout the conversations and kind of see what the different characters think and feel about each other. And I thought that was really cool, and I really enjoyed that. So I'd also highly recommend this book. Last one I read for this month, once again, another darling for me. This is Paladin's Faith. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I have the other Paladin series here, same Steel series here. I'm super looking forward to the next book. I don't think there's a release date. This is the 4th book in the Same Steel series. I enjoyed this one. This one we took on a new arc, because in these 3 we kind of finished the main arc that we were on. So this started a new arc. I do think we know who the next 2 books are going to be about, which yeah, okay. I think sorry, for a second I was like, wait, math is not mathing. Because there's 7 saints, and there's going to be a book for each saint, or not saint. There's 7 paladins, and there's going to be a book for each paladin. This was Shane's book. Still have 3 paladins left after this. The next book, I believe, is going to be, my guess, Judith. So I think Judith is next in our story, because that's what it kind of seems to be. And I think the next 3 books, this one, book 5, 6, and 7, I'm assuming are going to be the kind of same arc of story, because the first 3 were the same arc. Like, they all had the same kind of goal, and then this one introduced a new kind of goal for us. So I think the next 4 books will be the same arc. Already it seems to be the same arc, but I'm excited about this. I like Paladin's Faith. In this book, we follow Margaret and Shane. This is the 4th book. You do need to read them in chronological order. It will not make sense. But they're one of my favorite couples. In Paladin's Faith, we follow Stephen and Grace as they kind of work together to solve some murders that have been happening around the town. Grace is a perfumist, so she is kind of helping out by like figuring out what the smells are. It doesn't make sense when I say it like that. But she helps out. Stephen's this paladin who has been sent to help and kind of be protection. So I love this series. I really enjoy it. Paladin Strength, we follow Esteban and Clara as they, once again, continue the investigation from the previous book. and they go on a little journey together. They're so fun. In this one, we follow Piper and Galen as they wrap up, in a way, the arc of the last book together. Love them. I honestly got a crush on Galen, but he's taken. Damn you, Piper. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the series. I would highly recommend it. Most of them are 4 out of 5 stars for me, if not 5 out of 5. So, the 6 books I read this month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!